The 10 scariest horror movies of all time ranked. Some movies are just purely horrifying. Since the dawn of cinema, horror has been at the forefront of entertainment, delivering some of the most spectacular and terrifying films in history. They captivate audiences, sending a shiver down their spines at how thrilling and creepy they can be. Before moving forward, if you are new to our channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for future interesting videos. 10. Pulse, 2001. Directed by Kiyoshi Kurosawa, an iconic ghost thriller from Japan, Pulse is a 2001 supernatural horror film directed by Kiyoshi Kurosawa. It's a dreary, unrelentingly bleak, nightmarish story about two groups of Tokyo residents as they slowly piece together that sinister spirits are using the internet to travel into the real world and convince people to harm themselves. Pulse is overwhelmingly terrifying, featuring haunting and disturbing imagery that keeps viewers shivering with fright. There's no gore or intense jump scares, just perfect suspense, and scenes that build with mounting horror. It even features one of the most horrifying scenes of any film, in a moment where a character encounters an eerie ghost with unnatural body movements. The score is also quite unsettling and effectively creeps right under the skin. The movie is purely nightmare-inducing and sticks with the audience well after the credits roll. 9. Hereditary, 2018. Directed by Ari Aster. The most recent entry to this list is 2018's Hereditary, directed by indie filmmaker Ari Aster. Considered one of the most frightening and recognizable folk horror movies in cinema, it's a pulse-pounding story about a grieving family that, after the death of their cryptic grandmother, begins descending into chaos as strange supernatural occurrences happen all around them. Hereditary is a modern horror masterpiece that fills audiences with dread. As part of the elevated horror subgenre, it's a slow-burner thriller with powerful storytelling and intense suspense to hone in on its scares. It's also backed by some of the best acting in the horror genre, especially by actress Toni Collette, who is utterly captivating in the lead role. It's an eerie, compelling film that takes its time and doesn't fail to leave a frightening impact. 8. A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984. Directed by Wes Craven. Now, onto one of the most iconic and darkest slasher flicks in horror history, Wes Craven's 1984 classic A Nightmare on Elm Street. A bloody, intense serial killer film with a fresh concept, it follows the story of a group of neighborhood friends as they find themselves being stalked and killed one by a horrifying supernatural murderer who claims them in their sleep. A Nightmare on Elm Street is one of the most recognizable slasher movies ever. It introduced the world to Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund, a frightening pop cultural icon who made an entire generation of kids afraid to dream at night. The idea of a serial killer stalking people in their nightmares is a unique concept that raises the stakes and continues to be one of the most creative ideas for any horror movie. The film is still terrifying and has iconic moments that have become legendary in cinema. Just make sure not to watch this before bed. 7. Ringu, 1998. Directed by Hideo Nakata. Hailing again from Japan, at number 7 is 1995's Ringu, a supernatural horror mystery thriller directed by Hideo Nakata. The story follows a female reporter who, after the horrific death of her niece, links a string of other grisly murders to a supposed cursed videotape that kills anyone who watches it in 7 days. It's a chilling ghost story with memorable scares that will make just about anyone afraid that something terrible will crawl out of their TV screens. Ringu is often regarded as one of the scariest horror movies of the 1990s, a film dripping with so much terror. The iconic scene of the ghost Sadako Yamura, Rei Inouo, eerily creeping out of a television set has become legendary in horror cinema, and one fans certainly haven't forgotten. 6. Insidious, 2010. Directed by James Wan. Directed by James Wan, the chilling mind behind Saw and the Conjuring franchise, Insidious is a 2010 supernatural ghost movie packed to the brim with intense scares. Starring Patrick Wilson and Lin Shaye, it tells the story of a family of 5 trying to make a fresh start at a new home. However, when the eldest son, Dalton, Ty Simpkins, accidentally falls into a coma, a series of strange events leads the rest of the family to believe a terrifying demon is lurking somewhere in the house and is trying to collect Dalton's soul. Insidious is a wild, thrilling haunted house ride. It boasts some of the biggest and most memorable jump scares in movie history. It's also expertly paced and dripping with suspense, keeping the audience invested right from start to finish. There's enough shock and terror to take anyone's breath away. It truly is a standout in the supernatural genre and can still be pretty intense to watch today. 5. Sinister, 2012. Directed by Scott Derrickson. Sinister is a 2012 supernatural horror thriller directed by Scott Derrickson and starring Ethan Hawke. Today considered one of the most terrifying films of the 2010s, it's an intensely eerie story that follows a true crime author as he moves his family into a home, once the site of a grisly mass murder, so research his next book. However, as he looks further into the house's dark history, he shockingly discovers the murders were all orchestrated by a terrifying Babylonian god called Bughuul. Sinister combines thrilling jump scares and a dark, creepy atmosphere to create a solid and chilling haunted house story. The suspense and terror build with each passing scene, and some of its most horrifying moments are straight-up nightmare fuel that'll make anyone hesitant to fall asleep after watching the movie. It's become a standout in recent years and continues to terrify viewers. It's probably not recommended to watch this one in the dark. 4. The Thing, 1982. Directed by John Carpenter. Directed by the legendary horror filmmaker John Carpenter, The Thing is a 1982 remake of Christian Nyby's The Thing from Another World, also based on a novella called Who Goes There by John Dudley Campbell. Set in the bleak, frigid environment of Antarctica, it follows a group of American researchers as they try to survive the winter while cut off and trapped in an isolated outpost with a hostile alien life form able to disguise itself among the crew. The Thing is quite simply one of the greatest horror movies ever made. The suspense is powerful, the setting is tense and claustrophobic, the acting is exceptional, and its scares are effective and incredibly memorable. The alien itself looks straight out of someone's worst nightmare. It is as fascinating as it is mysterious. The effects created by makeup artist Rob Bottin to bring the creature's many forms to life continue to look flawless and terrifying. This is the director's masterpiece and undoubtedly the scariest film Carpenter's ever made. 3. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. Directed by Tobe Hooper. Now onto one of the influential slasher movies in cinema history. Tobe Hooper's low-budget B-movie horror classic, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, has left a considerable mark on the horror pop culture that continues to be felt today. It tells the story of 5 friends driving through the Texas countryside to stay at a family home. However, once there, they encounter a horrifying chainsaw-wielding serial killer named Leatherface, Gunnar Hansen, and his deranged family of murderous cannibals. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a gritty, grim slasher masterpiece that continues to shock and terrify audiences today. Despite its low-budget feel, it's oddly a timeless film and features many iconic moments that have become immortalized in the horror genre. Despite what its title suggests and the controversy surrounding its violence, the film is actually much more tamed and less bloody than one might expect. Despite less gore, it's still a disturbing classic that gets right under people's skin. 2. Alien, 1979. Directed by Ridley Scott. Alien is a 1979 sci-fi monster horror film directed by legendary English filmmaker Sir Ridley Scott. It's a very dark, atmospheric horror classic that also serves as a slasher film in space. The story follows a group of astronauts as they're picked off one by an unstoppable alien organism that is stowed away on board their ship back to Earth. Alien thrives in its simplicity, allowing terror to come from the audience's fear of the unexpected. Some of its scariest moments come from not knowing when or where the creature will appear next, much like when watching Jaws or The Thing. 1. The Exorcist, 1973. Directed by William Friedkin. Finally, at number 1 is a terrifying supernatural horror classic, almost universally hailed as the scariest movie of all time, The Exorcist. Featuring incredible scares and disturbing imagery, this iconic chiller tells the story of 2 Catholic priests who must perform a dangerous exorcism to rescue an innocent little girl from a ghastly demonic possession. The Exorcist is an unsettling nightmare with horrific moments that continue to shock and disturb viewers. It has terrified audiences for generations since its first release in 1973 and possibly for decades more. Linda Blair's performance as Raiden during the different stages of her possession has become a standout of horror and continues to be praised as some of the most compelling acting in the genre's history. Truly, there is no topping this intense masterpiece. The Exorcist reigns supreme as the ultimate scary movie. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated with our latest video. Thanks for watching.